Hello, everyone. Turn on my camera for a minute. Welcome to another edition of Aeon's End, the New Age Dev Streams. I am John, lead developer at Handelabra, and today I am joined by Jennifer, who is also at Handelabra. Want to say hello?
Hello. I do a variety of things, but mainly UI design and yeah, I think we'll have a fun time talking about some of the images for Magath today.
Yeah, we're going to get some of the visual stuff in place. And so I was going to say, if you've played our games, anything you see on the screen, those pixels have probably gone through Jennifer's computer. I think it's pretty safe to say, whether you created the images
It
or
seems very
modified them.
likely.
So Jennifer is in charge of all things visual. I'm just going to paste a link to the Kickstarter into the chat in case anyone hasn't seen it. And feel free to ask some questions. We'll be monitoring the chat and are happy to answer questions throughout the stream. So without further ado, take it away, Jennifer, with art stuff.
Art stuff. All right. So we well the we're gonna focus on Magath today, who's a new if you're not familiar, is a new nemesis from the Aeon's End New Age expansion. And I think you should be able to see the art for that nemesis on my screen. So first, I'm going to pop into Unity, and so you can see what it looks like before the art is in for a nemesis. So you'll see there's like the portal is where the like cutout image for Magath will go, and then there's this little track um, in the box that we'll also be polishing up a little bit on the stream today. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is what it looks like in the physical version. Just so you know, have an idea of where we're going to go with stuff. So I'm going to start. I guess the first thing I'll do is I'll put Magath in that portal. So I started to get ready. So the art is there's actually far more layers in the original file, but there's like a background, and then Magath is on a separate layer. It doesn't look amazing by themselves, but it'll work okay in a portal. I made a clipping mask so it would sort of fit, and I think this should be okay, but I haven't actually tested this out in the game yet, so I'm going to do that right now.
I guess I
And
often don't bother drawing something that's going to be covered up.
right, yeah, if it's not gonna be on the card, and then like, so one thing that happens a lot with when files are coming from print to digital is because the whole character isn't fitting on the card, there's going to be hard edges, and sometimes I have to fill in little bits and pieces or fade them out, which it works fine. It's just a little, it's just a little extra piece of it that you don't see if you're not looking behind the scenes. So there's a whole bunch of other nemesis in the game. And so the nemesis cutouts, there's like a different folder for each one. And you can see on my screen, there's different skins for them. Oh, the other thing they have is a glow layer, which I haven't made yet for Magath. So the first thing I'll do is I'll make a folder for the Magath cutouts.
Frenzy in the chat says, thanks to Jennifer for the great looking games.
Yay! You're very welcome. I love making the pretty games. Making the games pretty. Yes, that's what all right. And then, so these are all 2048 by 1024. So I can just do a quick export as a ping, and then find it deep in the file directory. I mean, the other thing you could do is just put it in a folder and then drag it into Unity. But
Oh, I think you're in Spirit Island.
I am in Spirit Island. You know why? I was working on Spirit Island yesterday, and I had Spirit Island. It was just a reflex to go to Spirit Island. But there's Aeon's End. And the mage cutouts, nemesis cutouts.
I think out of anyone, you probably work on the most different games at a time because there's always something to do.
Yeah, there have been days where I've worked on like 3 different games in the same day, and it gets interesting sometimes. But I do not get bored at work ever. That's that is one thing I can say. Let me make sure I get the settings. Yeah, I'll turn off compression. All right, so now I believe it should just show up, right, John?
I think there might be an addressable thing for that. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Are those in an atlas? Probably.
Oh, they're in an atlas that I need to make, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. I forgot.
You can actually make a copy in Unity, and it will do the meta file for you.
Oh, okay. Did it always do that? Because I feel like it didn't always do that.
At least it does for me.
Okay. Well, I will try that for the next one then, I guess. All right, so now Magath will be in an atlas.
Yeah, it'll be in the atlas, but the game still won't know where to look for it. So I can do that part if you want to push that up.
Sure.
And see how it looks. And I can show everyone how I did that afterward. Well, I guess my screen is going to go on top of you. Actually, no, I'm doing a window capture, so I think my screen won't.
Oh, did you just push something up?
I think just a DLL update, so you can merge that in.
Now, why does it think I changed all these different atlases?
That is the eternal question.
I haven't touched those atlases today, for sure. Oh, that's weird. Okay.
I noticed the next version of Unity that we're moving up to removes there's a line in the sprite atlas that's like total size or something like that. That changes all the time, and that's been taken out. So I think that will reduce the number of weird sprite atlas changes that come up.
Okay.
But we haven't moved Aeon's End up to that yet, but soon.
Cool.
All right, so if you push that up, I will pull it down and hook it up and let you know when to pull again.
All right, and then I will open up the folder or open up Unity because I'm sure there's something that needs to sync up with it. Yeah, it's very strange. Like atlases randomly think that they've been changed sometimes. But...
Yeah, I think they're getting better at it, but
it definitely has gotten better. Not perfect, but it's definitely better than it used to be.
All right, I'm just going to... Yeah, so I need to add that into addressables.
Is my screen still on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I can show off some of our other atlases we have that relate to the nemesis. So we have card browser images, which for when you can look in the game at all the different cards that are in the game and different mats for the mages and the nemesis. There's the turn order images that come up in the game. And there's also like the buttons for the new game screen that would have the character art on them. And then also on the end game screen. But that's really more for mages when they lose, they're on there. So And I guess I'll go ahead and pull up.
All right, I'm just pushing that up now.
Okay.
And there it is. And I'll explain what I did later.
Yay! Let's make sure Magath is looking all right. All right. Kind of fades into the background a little, but I think that's okay, at least for now. Okay. It just felt better to have
Yeah, you got to see the big bad.
Yeah, gotta see it. All right, so next I'll work on the special area. So there's a this is the physical version of it, and so what I was thinking. Where's my Magath folder? So there's the background, it has Magath in it, but then there's also the image without, which I think for the track, just the background like this makes sense. And maybe a frame around it too. I'll have to see how it looks in game, but
yeah, I set up those cells so they have like 3 states, so they can be empty or have the thing or not have the thing. And so we can, those like squares can be where the, like, can have that empty hex. So we don't have to try to like line it up with a background image or something.
Okay.
Which I think we do on Carapace Queen, and it's annoying.
Yeah, maybe. I think, I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember. I can open it up and we can find out. Where's Carapace Queen?
Yeah, if you open up the full track, just below that. Or maybe we don't. I guess we don't. It's just sort of a... Or is it? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we had debated about how to do it, I think, is what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Oh, it's
I think
Blight
you're thinking
Lord, maybe.
of the Wayward one.
Or, yeah. Blight Lord, I think.
Blight Lord.
Has the... Because the track for Blight Lord goes, like, in a funny way.
Yeah, because it's real specific.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes at angles, and yeah. But I think because we have the pieces are separated out for the Magath track, like these are the cells, and I pulled out an individual cell.
Cool.
In the background, so I think that'll work pretty well. Now I don't know the right dimensions for this yet, so let's take a look at.
Yeah, and feel free to change it to fit what it needs to be.
So I guess for right now, I'll just take the full scale image and see how. Oh, there is going to be. I'll just stick it all in the same atlas right now, even though that's not where it belongs. Just to be quick. Okay. So we have the background. Let's see how this looks. I want to turn off the tint and preserve aspect. It looks like I'll have to anchor it to the bottom.
Yeah, that'll all get like set to the right height in game.
Yeah, I figured it would. So I think that actually, I think that'll work more or less. I think it'll need a frame or shadow or something behind it, and we can see how this relates to the game for press play. Okay, it goes up too high, but it's the right general look.
Cool.
Is there a reason that there's a gap here? I think something else is going to probably go in that.
Yeah, there's a hint label that can show up there, I think, so I think that's why there's space
Okay.
there. You can
Yeah, so
check
I think
in the
I
scene,
can
but
I can just trim the top part of the image or smush it down for right now. Oops. Unexpected. All right. Well, I'll see how. Now these are individual prefabs, so I will pull that out. Now yeah. So the empty image will be the maggot. And I think it's going to need to be a little bit bigger so there's room.
I guess
room
there
in
isn't.
the middle.
There actually isn't anything there in that spot. If you want to go down a little bit further.
Oh, okay.
I guess the open label on Breach 4 can be sort of there. Not exactly there, but could overlap slightly potentially.
Okay. So I could just say minus 10, 15. Hey, that's actually looking a lot like this. Looks like the text is going to need some adjusting. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what font these are using right now.
Yeah, I think those are prefabs, so you can edit one of them.
The prefabs. Yep. Okay. Because I think there might be a. No, there isn't a shadow one. There's a beveled one. I don't know if that will look better or worse. Let's see. I guess that means I should probably make a beveled one, or I could just put. Actually, I could just put a shadow behind the text that'll stretch to it, which would work too. Yeah, I don't think the beveled is actually any easier to read. Really. I guess there's probably not a way to add it other than. Well, I can do it in the other prefab.
Yeah, it's not easy to put text inside a label that goes behind it. Or an image inside it because of the Z order.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It can get tricky.
You could add copy that grid and put the shadows in that maybe.
See. Each.
We can do it a different way too. Right now they're just like single labels, but they could be objects that have a label and something else. So.
Yeah, I mean the other option is if they're always going to be in the same places, I bake shadows into the background.
Sure, probably easier to do it dynamically though, like just to
Probably.
If we want to make adjustments.
Okay.
So if you want to do that, we can basically change that instead of just being a label, make it be an object. I can either do that or you could set it up either way.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the other thing I was thinking we could try doing, I don't know if it's a good idea, is where did you go? I guess it's not gonna play nice with the way it's set up. So, all right, I'll think about that.
Yeah,
That's it.
I can change that setup so that you'll have more control over that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's really only an issue with like the top few that are
Right.
harder. So let me think. So does it ever get minimized like it does with some of the other nemesis?
I'm planning to be able to
Okay.
minimize it. I haven't decided exactly what it's going to show, but because it's not as simple as Carapace Queen is just like there are this many husks, but with Magoth, it's important to know like how many are. It's mainly how many are in the top row and what are they. So it might be more of a like single row display or something like that, as opposed to seeing everything at once.
Okay.
That might be how I do it. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I think it'll work whichever way. But I think the next step is to get the maggots and flies showing up instead of the arrows and check marks. So I will show you what those images look like. So there's the fly and the maggot. The actual tokens have numbers on them, which will be. Oh, good, a potential spam call. Sorry about that. I get so many, and the caller ID says it's coming from potential spam. So that's always fun.
yeah,
All
we get
right.
them here too, and it's like the police want to talk to you, or this is the government calling about your taxes, and it's like no, it's not.
Right. Or Microsoft / Apple / Google / Amazon.
Right. Technical
Yeah.
support. Yeah. Calling you.
All right. So there's probably. I'll just. I guess I should go ahead and make a Nemesis specific folder for Magath.
Yep, and I'll probably need to hook that up too. But that should be easy. Maybe? I'm not actually. I don't think so. Because that's basically those Nemesis specific things are only used by the Nemesis special view, so they don't need to be loaded separately since that's loaded from resources. So
Okay.
that's where you can put those things like the other. But yeah, it does need its own atlas. So yeah, if you go like copy and paste on one of those, that's what I do. Or like drag and hold. I guess it might be Alt. Whatever you would Alt or Control.
Oh, control works.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then you can just rename that and change the stuff. Always good to learn new things.
Hey, I'm very excited. I learned something new. See, I'm learning right along with the people watching. And also, thanks for joining us today, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, we're getting some more viewers looking in. It's fun. Yeah, and whenever I watch anyone using Unity or programming or whatever, I always learn new things. So it's always good. I thought it's interesting that these are called wasps in the original file names.
It is interesting. I was very confused. Yeah, they're called wasps and
Eggs.
wasp eggs. So maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they
I'm
just
not sure.
decided to make it more gross, I guess, by making them maggots.
I think so. I think that's what happened. So it's always better if it's more gross in a video game, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
They're
Or I
definitely
guess,
good at that in Aeon's End.
yeah, or in this case, in a tabletop game that is becoming a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's some prefabs I gotta find now. So I know the maggot fly cell. All right, and then yeah.
Yeah, so those have a link to the Sprite Atlas, I think. Or maybe, I think, yeah, the image. I don't know if they have a separate atlas. I think they just
Well,
use,
there's a
yeah, they just use, oh, they just take the sprite directly. So just drag the sprite on, and then, yeah,
yeah,
that's how they're set up.
yeah, that works. I mean, since there's only two possibilities so far, I mean, who knows? They could be an expansion that gives maggot extra maggots. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm making no assumptions, but about. All right, so let's see. Let's see how this works.
Oh no, my check marks and my arrows.
Oh no!
Things are actually going to look good now. Crazy.
Funny how it works, right?
Ooh, cool.
So that is looking, oh, but it's actually already looking pretty close to what we're thinking. I'll zoom in. Woo.
I think the tokens are a little smaller so you see the border. I'm actually going to go grab my game and see.
Okay. Oops. Yeah, I think that is pretty good. So I feel like it should be in some kind of a frame. So I'm going to take a look at how we did it for some of the other nemesis in the game, because there's special areas for all of them. So for Blight Lord, there's a similar track, and that, yeah, there's definitely a frame around it. I think it's probably baked into that background.
Yeah, so I'm looking on the
Let's see,
tabletop.
I think
The tokens fit inside the cells with a little bit of even the white area visible. So probably like as much as the orange border is, you also see the white around the token. So they're about that size. If we want them to be that size,
so
we can.
yeah, they absolutely could be. I think I just put them in the size that they,
Yeah.
The size that they were in the source files.
Yeah, I didn't know what the size was either, so.
Okay. Yeah, I think and they're not perfect square images either, which was, not a huge surprise, but yeah, because they're 326 by 376, and then the cell I cropped it to just by its
Sure.
as small as I could make it, and it's 510 by 500, so
Yeah, I think it's that in the prefab, those images are the same size as the whole thing, so that just covers them up. But you can make them smaller in the prefab.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing I was thinking of doing, which is a thing that we can do in digital, is separating out the border on this to go in front of these, so they kind of sink into it.
Right.
I'm not sure that we need to do that necessarily, but so.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even have to be necessarily hexagons, because they could be more like, oh, these are actually like things. They're not tokens. They're like actual things that are in these honeycombs or whatever.
Well, that's a good point. we have just the maggot egg or just the maggot in there.
Right. I think the color coding is helpful, like the bright orange versus blue or whatever too, though. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I will just in testing it out in the game, it looked. Let's make this higher resolution. Oops. You can tell like when it flips over from like suddenly it's much brighter. But yeah, I definitely can make the prefabs be the same size. So the empty image fits. It's fitting exactly to that, and then is the target image will be the maggots and flies, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that can probably just extend all the way to the full size.
Well, or be a little smaller, right? Isn't that the idea?
I meant make it a little bit smaller. It's it's not a perfect. It's not really a perfect hexagon with perfect.
No, it's actually kind of an octagon, isn't it?
It is. I was a little confused because
yeah.
the honeycomb fits into an octagon, and then the images are hexagons. But so I was tempted to turn them into octagons because I think it would probably look better. But I don't know, for whatever reason they designed it this way. And then there'll be highlights, which are not in there yet.
Right now they're husks.
All right, let's see if that looks a little bit better. Now, is the honeycomb supposed to disappear when they flip?
Oh, it is, but it probably shouldn't be.
Okay. Well, there's a few ways we could do it. We could either bake them into the honeycomb, and then it wouldn't matter, or.
Yeah, I think showing that honeycomb all the time is pretty. It's like one line of code, so it's pretty easy for me to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I can probably do that right now.
Keep adding to your to-do list for the second half of the stream. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll see if I can do that right now pretty quickly and then push it up for you.
Sounds good. I guess I can go ahead and commit my changes too, right?
Maggot fly view. Yeah, just the empty view is always active. That's fine. You gonna push up first or second? That's the race.
Well, I'm gonna remove the blight lord.
All right, I'll push up my change. It's only one line in a file.
Sure, that sounds good. I don't know why it thinks that I did anything to these files, but
yeah, I think
sometimes
you turned on you changed active on a couple things looking at stuff. I think.
I probably.
I think I prefer it though to the old Unity, which would like just not save your changes to prefabs unless you press the special button. And so then like you go in 2 days later and it's like, why do I have changes? Oh, I didn't commit those.
Yeah, that was good and bad because it was also easy to like accidentally delete your changes too.
Yeah. But I still reflexively go file save project all the time, even though it doesn't do anything now.
Right, I do. I also do that all the time.
And of course, there's no keyboard shortcut for that. Because why would there be?
All right, so that's.
Yeah, so I'd say if you wanted to match the physical, they are a tiny bit smaller.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to, but that's how they would look on the tabletop.
You know what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop this in here so I can
So you can see. Yeah.
see. Yeah. Do I want to preserve aspect?
Oh yeah, probably,
I
right?
suppose I probably do. Yeah, probably. I'm just kind of eyeballing it right
Yeah, so
now.
about that is what they look like.
Does that look about right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll remove this because. All right. Is that looking closer to the physical now?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I definitely like it better with the honeycomb staying there. It feels more like how it should. Cool. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about that. I do. Oh, I wanted to add in the border. If I think there's an outline image in the project. If not, I'll bake it in.
Yeah, and the life indicator is actually a different spot on these than other things. If we wanted to put it in that like bottom middle spot, like on you can see in the original token, right? And I put it in the top right because that's where we usually put the life. But
yeah, the original token has it not even on the same spot on both of them, but towards the bottom. But it should be in the same spot on both of them, I think.
yeah, in the tabletop, the husks don't have one. It's like I copied it from the husk one, right? And basically, husks don't have one, and we put one on them in digital. So I don't mind keeping it sort of consistent with the husks and minions to have it be in the top right, but if it looks better on the bottom, that's okay too.
Okay. Well, why don't I try it and see how it looks in game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure that. Yeah. I hear what you're saying though about it being consistent, and I think it might make sense to keep it more consistent, but I feel like it needs to be a little bit smaller too.
Yeah, it's actually very small on the physical token. It's like
It's real.
2 millimeters or a millimeter and a half. It's very small.
Right. It's the regular one. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I probably needed to not leave that open. No, that worked. Ooh. I'm thinking and that's like zoomed in, like when it's zoomed out, like it's pretty tiny and it still doesn't fit. So maybe it does make sense to leave it where it was. There's this magic thing called undo, right?
So Unity's one thing annoying about undo is that Unity like it undoes the things you clicked on that didn't change anything as well. Like
yes, it does.
Why is that part of the undo stack? I don't know. There must be some reason. Yeah, I think I like the top right.
I do too because it matches better with the regular ones. Oh, so if you're watching and you're wondering why the fly throng card says sprite name equals maggot, color equals FFF, means there's no font sprite in there yet for the maggots and the flies. So I will show you how we make that happen. So there's actually I'll show you in Unity so you can see what that is going to become. So down here in resources, font sprites, there's this font sprite sheet, and what the font sprites are the tiny images that are part of the text.
I guess we'd call them emojis now.
Yeah, right. Yes, the technical term is emojis. So when you look at the cards, like there's the ether symbol, or I don't have the right, but
Yeah, mostly on the small cards.
mostly on the small cards, you can see like for damage or for the various things that you can do with the cards, like destroying a card or manipulating cards. I know it's not called manipulate in this game, reveal, but I think of it because it reminds me of the manipulate
Yeah, it
icon
might be
from
called that actually. It's like do something with the deck or cards. Yeah.
Well, there's one way to find out would be to just go and take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is called manipulate card. Okay, well then
There you go.
I thought I had the name wrong and I didn't. So that was neat. All right, so and then this font spreadsheet is 1024 by 2048. So here in Photoshop is how I've laid it out, and there's other ways of doing it, but that's the way that I've done it. And I have a grid to kind of figure out where the fonts go, because when they get they get chopped up in the sprite gets chopped up in Unity and then put into the font sprite atlas. So right now I have the two tokens, and I kind of masked them to new shapes that would fit better in a square. And I gave them like slight outlines, and so they would show up. But I think they probably need a little bit more than that. So because like I was looking at our other font sprites, have like mostly have drop shadows of some sort, even if it's really slight. So let's.
Yeah, like the husks have the cute little husk.
Yeah, cute little husk. It is actually very cute. And then there's one with lots of little tiny little husks too.
Yeah, that's the swarm icon, I think.
So one thing, so I guess it'll probably have to get shrunk down a bit, but let's try adding a drop shadow and see how it looks. Of course, Photoshop thinks I want something completely different than what I wanted, but that's okay. Yeah, that looks about right, but I think we'll need to make this a bit smaller. I guess I'll shrink them both down at the same time.
Yeah, because that shadow stays that size, it will show up in the other one.
Right. Yeah. Like so the reason I have the grid guidelines is so I know where the boxes are going to be, because there can't be any overlap into other sprites or outside of the box that this is in. So I think that's a little bit better. In here, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller than it is, because oops. So if I push the spread all the way up, I can see that it's still going a little further than we want it to. So maybe more like that. It's really there just so it'll show up like on the lighter background of the text. And is going on over here. I think it's because, I know what's going on. It's because I still have the original image right there, and then I masked it to the other shape. All right, so we have those two new font sprites, and we may have needed to adjust them some more after we see how they look in game, but let's try it out. So the working file is 2048 by 4096. Why? Photoshop did a glitch. Alright, let's try saving it and try again. Oh, Photoshop. Like, every new version of Photoshop, they make some things nicer and then some things get a little bit broken. But that's okay. And Photoshop thinks I'm in Spirit Island. And then bands. No, not Alice's or images. It's resources. Alright, so I saved it over the old file, and then there's a couple steps. And it looks like it thinks there's things there that aren't there. So we're going to slice it by cell count. And it's 8 by 16. Not sure why it thinks there's things there that aren't, because I'm pretty sure that should be contained in there, but we'll see on the when it gets put into the. We'll see if in the settings if it actually is a problem. Alright, apply. And I can go back and take a look and make sure there's not like a stray pixel somewhere in the image. Okay, so to add it in as a font sprite, first we have to add it in as a glyph. So yeah, 128 pixels apart from each other. Yeah, it's interesting where math comes in, isn't it? I think everything else should be about the same as other sprites. So then these are 66 and 67. We'll go into the character table and add them in. That is so. Now, hopefully, that should show up. And hey, look,
Hey.
there it is. It just magically appeared. I wonder if it should be if it should be scaled up slightly or not, but it's showing up, so that's a good step in the right direction. Okay, trying to think what else. Oh, I keep saying I wanted to add a border around the special area, and I keep getting distracted and working on something else, so I will go and do that. I think there's. Let's see if there's a border right inside of. Okay. And we'll anchor it. But it's anchoring it to the whole thing rather than just the 1060. I'll just change the settings to match. Maybe it should be a little bit thinner. Hey, that's kind of what I was thinking. At least for now, I might make one and it matches the colors more. But this actually works because it's kind of neutral. Yeah. Now there is, in case anyone watching is wondering, I will show you what's going on. But there's the little like helpful hints and labels and stuff behind it, which I think is, I'm not worrying about the frame.
Yeah, I still haven't figured out exactly
Okay,
what's
so
going to go there yet.
yeah, well, it's working for right now. And then part of if you're watching and wondering why there's some extra space in the layout, it's because when you're in 4.3, like if you're playing the game on an iPad, everything gets condensed in.
Yeah, looks like there's a tiny overlap on that breach label, but not much, so it should be okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And yeah, you'll notice that there's, so I was talking about the turn order images, that's what these are. So like you can see for the hero, interesting. I guess it knows that it's going to be yeah, there's only one mage in this game. All right, so I can go ahead and get that in, and that's going to go in the full turn order folder. So yeah. I think I might even say that. There's some portals. So we have Magath in the portal, so close that. Oh, I guess I don't open it. Right. So for this, I guess it makes sense to use the version that doesn't have a background. For other villains or nemesis, we did that way, but Magath's art is kind of unique, so yeah, I'm not really sure that there'll be much showing through other than base. I think it'll be sort of like the Prince of Glutton's image that's just zoomed in. There's no, you don't really see any background. Let's see. I guess that's the face, maybe. It's not always clear with the Aeons and monsters, but we'll call this the face. And for the full turn order ones, they're opaque for the nemesis. They're kind of transparent on the edges because the background shows through. Yeah, there's the mages have the background, but it's baked in for the nemesis because they're kind of special or just different. Either way. All right. So actually, I don't know why there's not a red version of that in this file. I think I must have been setting them up in a different file. So I'll make this. Matches. Quite pretty. I know somewhere there's nothing in it. I should have gotten that file ready. I somehow thought that they were all going to be in here, but for for right now, I'll just put it in like this so we can at least see how the process works. And
I'm just going to step out for a second. I'll be right back.
okay. Well, that didn't go right at all. All right, let's find the file that makes more sense. I think this is, yeah, here we are. So yeah, as you can see, like the Horde Crone is on the background like that.
I have returned.
Welcome back. Yeah. All right, now that's looking more like what the Nemesis full turn order should look like. It feels a little goofy because Magath is on a blue background, but the egg at the bottom is throwing me off. Okay, we'll put them in like this and see how that looks. Asset packs.
your computer fan changing as it does the atlas.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, time to kick up the fans. Oh.
That's
Which
a
is
big one.
interesting. Yeah, it is a big one. And they're larger textures than some of the other atlases. So
Yeah, that's probably one we need to separate out.
yeah, I'm thinking we probably should at least separate the mages from the nemesis. Wow, really? Really, Unity in my computer? You should be able to handle
It's taken
that.
off.
All right, all right. And so that, well, if it was showing up, it would look ridiculous. Nah, where did you go? Oh wow, it looks like something broke when it was building this sprite atlas. It,
Oh
for
yeah,
some
it's
reason,
got
put Jake
J
behind.
or all the mages.
That's what it looked. Apparently, all the Magath ate all of the other mages. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. That's really weird. That might be a Photoshop glitch if something. Oh, I see. For some reason, with clipping masks, if something is turned on, even if it doesn't actually show up in Photoshop, sometimes it
Still in the
shows up.
export. That's kind of weird. It's not exporting
It's
what's
super
actually
weird.
there.
Yeah, I've had that happen before, and it's really strange. Um, the first time it happened, I had no idea what was going on, and I was really confused. But
Well, now we
right,
get to
there.
redo the atlas again.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think maybe it'll go faster this time. Maybe not. But anyways, that's the on the basic level, that's what for the game view anyway. What you need. There's also a small turn order, but I'll probably save that for another. I'll save that for after my stream. But was there anything else you wanted me to show right now, John, that you thought of that I'm forgetting?
I think that's most of it. I guess we could chat a bit about ideas for. So this is all we're covering so far is like the mechanical gameplay stuff, right? Like you need to be able to see the flies and maggots and damage them and see the information and all that stuff and see the pictures of the characters. But we also have the uh, cool stuff, for lack of a better word, right? Like with Carapace Queen, you have the little husks that run around the sides of the screen, and they swarm the screen when she swarms, and that sort of thing. So I just had a thought about for Magath. I don't know if you've ever had like there's a kind of fruit fly that like sort of helicopters around really slowly, but then when you try to catch it, it like dodges really fast.
Okay.
I was wondering we could potentially have like whenever there's flies, they would be just sort of like flying around the screen lazily, but avoiding your cursor if you try to get them.
I like the idea. I don't know how hard that would be to implement, but I like the idea. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, and maybe for the fly or the maggots potentially like we find like parts of the screen that are like sort of like corners and cracks and crevices that like an egg might be and have them show up there like the corners of panels and stuff like that instead of just like all around the edge of the screen but like more like maybe in that card play area and in the corners of it or in between things and stuff like that. And so you can see, and then like and we could have a little animation of like the egg hatching because that happens right when there's a thing about hatching eggs or hatching maggots into flies, and so the little fly could come out of the egg and start flying around in a creepy way. Creepy but cute, like the husks.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. That'd be. I was just looking at what's in separate layers and the.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a lot of like resources.
I think. Well, I think we'd have to make. We probably would have to make some of them.
Yeah, or maybe we could find an asset pack with like a fly
Yeah,
that looks close
probably.
enough.
I'm
I,
sure. I'm sure we could. With flies. I'm sure that's a thing that is out there.
Yeah,
There's lots of gross games.
it could even be 3D. Who knows? Not instead of just a 2D thing. So yeah, something with some animations, like because obviously we would want it to have a little bit of flying animation and like hatching animation and stuff.
Should I show what the husks look like in game for
Sure.
people that have not played?
Yeah, sure. It's a good idea.
Here, let me go back to the main menu and I'll start a new game with Carapace Queen. That's actually the skin version of Carapace Queen. Let's the regular one in. And let's see. I'll pick some random mages and some random cards. Uh-oh. Did I break something? I know I haven't. I don't know. Something looks like it might be a little off there. So yeah, Carapace Queen starts out without any husks, but they come up.
Well, she has two. They're in the bottom left.
Oh, there they are. Oh, one went away because my.
Yeah, if you try to click on them.
I don't know if I'm not sure if the cursor is showing up, but
Yep.
they move when the cursor. So that.
Yeah,
fun.
and then when she swarms, they they race across the screen in random directions.
Yeah, it's really fun. Let me see if I can get her to swarm.
Yeah, so Magath is actually the brood womb, one of the cards from Carapace Queen. In the story they've killed the Carapace Queen, but the brood womb survives and comes back as Magath. And so yeah, the hatching thing is a different thing because there's like an effect that says hatch a fly, and that basically converts a maggot into a fly.
So yeah, the swarm just happened. Yeah, they're happened again. So it's pretty fun. That's neat. Oops. Card library. So here's Broodwomb, who looks suspiciously like okay, yeah, that is definitely the same character. Cool.
Yeah, the color change basically, right? I guess you got the skin for Magath right there is like the original the original colors of Broodwomb.
Right. I'm excited.
It's actually it's very I think it's a new drawing, but it's very similar.
I almost want the skin to just be this art instead of like recoloring the other art. But
we potentially could do that.
Totally just just totally pull this out and use that.
One interesting thing is
here's some max.
The Magath has this thing about hatching flies, but it never actually happens on any of her cards. It's only on the mat things when you fill up the row. That's the only time that hatching happens. So that's why we don't need an icon for it.
Oh, huh.
It's an interesting choice.
Interesting. Cool. And then yeah, you can see the husk icon.
Mm-hmm. And husk and swarm.
Smaller version of it. and swarms. Well, neat. I guess what makes, and I like still always do save project.
Yeah.
I guess I will push. Let's see, what did I do? I added font sprites and all right. Well, I think definitely got the graphics underway for this Nemesis, and I will turn it over to John. And thank you everybody for joining me today. And if you have any questions, I'll be hanging out in the chat afterwards. So feel free to ask any questions about UI and graphics and Aeon's End. And also, if you haven't checked out the Kickstarter, I can tell you after like going through the art files, there's a lot of new content in in this expansion.
Yeah. Some people are wondering, why is the Kickstarter campaign higher than the original game? It's because the New Age is bigger than the original game. So it's pretty significant. All right. So so feel free to stay on the call and chat, Jennifer, if you want, or drop off if you prefer. Either way is good.
Okay, I'll stay on the call, but I'll stop my screen share. Right?
Yeah. All right. So here is my screen, and I guess you can follow along on Twitch if you want for the visuals with a little lag. Then I don't have to have my computer sending too much data for the upstream, if that's all right. Oh,
Yep. That
cool.
yeah, I muted myself so I wouldn't accidentally make noise.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so I am going to pull down Jennifer's changes here and start looking at some more integration stuff. So I'm going to make a note on the Trello card. Let's grab Trello here. So yeah, sprites for Megadon Fly. Jennifer did that. The visual polish is ongoing. I think there's a couple more things we want to do. Special effects had some ideas. So I'm going to make a note here. Special effect ideas. Maggots hang out in corners / crevices similar to husks, but they don't move. If you click on a maggot, it just pulsates grossly. When flies fly slowly around the screen and avoid your cursor / touch on mobile. If a maggot hatches, there's an animation for that. Turning into a fly. I guess if when a fly is damaged to become a maggot. Question mark? Some animation? I don't know. Maybe it just flies off screen and a new maggot appears or something like that. The circle of life. All right, so yeah, so just some notes on there for us to think about. And I'm just going to update this font sprites card because we do have fly and maggot now. We still need an icon for attach as well. That's one thing that the New Age has at some point. We'll look at that. All right, so let me see how things are looking in here. My computer's going to want to pack that Sprite Atlas now. Hi, Seamus. Welcome. You missed Jennifer's part of the stream, but you'll be able to catch it on the recap or the highlight / YouTube later. I am always amazed watching your streams, Jennifer, because like you're a wizard in Photoshop. I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
Thank you. I I have spent a lot of time in Photoshop the last 7 years, and before that,
Yeah, for me, it's like I mean, I don't even have Photoshop or anything, but like I try to do some basic manipulation stuff, and I think it probably takes me a lot longer to do anything than you would.
well, thank you.
But yeah, there's, definitely a lot of little tips and tricks that you can pick up watching you do those things, because it's like, oh yeah, all those little, like, where does the shadow go to? Just slide this thing, and not obvious at all, but that's a good trick.
Yeah, it is a good trick. It's one of those things I figured out after many hours of trial and error, right? Because enough times, like shadow, especially with like a drop shadow, it'll go way further than I was expecting. So
Yeah.
So now it never happens because I do that.
Frenzy says your Photoshop skills are insane. Insane in the membrane.
Thank you, Frenzy Havoc.
Yeah. And that's how we can get these games to you, because if it was just me, they would you've seen what my graphics are. The check mark and the arrow. Jeremy does okay, but I think he doesn't have quite the chops. If you look at the old, you've seen the old original Sentinels prototype, right? That's like flying around the rooftops.
Yes, I've seen that. That was, I think, made right before I started working for Handelabra.
That's me and Jeremy level. That was mainly for like trying to get investors in the company, so that worked. But it was obviously not good enough for a real game. The check mark hatches into an arrow. Yes, exactly. And then the arrow attacks you. Okay, so let's get to some of this stuff. I was going to mention what I did before to get that atlas showing up. This game and most of our games now use the Unity addressable system, which lets you load resources on demand a little better. Because one thing that Unity will do is, if sprite atlases are great for saving memory and everything, but if you include a reference to the atlas directly in your scene, it's going to pull that into memory whether or not you use it. And that the reference can be actually pretty long. Like, we have like references to the prefabs that we instantiate for cards, and those prefabs have a reference to the atlas, and so then it pulls the atlas into memory even if it hasn't instantiated a prefab, which I know it seems dumb, but it's what it does. And so you have to deal with it. And that would end up having out of memory problems on mobile. And we actually, when we added the skins and customization to Aeon Zen, that's when we ran into that problem of it was bringing in too many graphics that it wasn't using into memory and running out of memory on iPads. And so we hooked up the addressable system. And that's why, after a certain update, there's like a small lag before showing something sometimes in the game. Like the first time, you can even see it in the editor. The first time you show a full card, it will pop in a little bit. Like if I right click this, there's like, you saw there was a frame where there was nothing. Maybe not on the stream, it's hard to see. But there's a frame where nothing happened, where it was loading the image. But once that is loaded, the rest are instant. There's no pop in because it's loaded the atlas with those art files. But there was a pop in there because that image for this minion is part of a separate atlas than the others. So then so basically for that reason, each nemesis has a separate atlas, and they're loaded by addressables. So all the artwork for, Rageborn and Wayward One and all the other nemesis or all the other mages are not being loaded at all. We're making sure that those aren't going into memory unless they're needed, and so we have to set them up with links here in the addressable system. And so that's why, even though the atlas was created, the game didn't know where to look for it until we set it up here. So basically all those things are set up in here. And then when we do the build, it'll create asset bundles, actually, is how it works into low level. All right, so why don't we follow up on something we were talking about with Magath, which was the text area here. We want that to have like a darker background, especially at the top. And we can make it so they all are different. So what we're going to do is pull up that special area. Special area Magath. And so instead of making these just labels, we'll make them like objects. So we'll call it nest, row, text, box. Sure. And now we can create the label inside. I guess I could just put this label inside. That kind of is silly though. Let's just copy this. And make it fill the box, but it can still be the same. It could be, like smarter now. It's like the top row and it's 10 high or whatever. Yeah, and I think we actually had to put in spacing. Maybe I didn't put any margins in. Sure. All right, so this is going to be the label. And then if we have a component on this, that's fine. Then we can create a shadow. Nope, not like that. Usually use like one of these glow images. And this is something that Jennifer can make look good. I'll just put it in here and then Jennifer can adjust it. However, we'll call it background image. And so we're going to make this prefab in here. And we're just going to get rid of these and replace them with this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to borrow the text out of these and put them into theirs. Number 2. And number 3. Number 4. All right, then those are gone. Now we have the background image, and then can go like on this one. Well, that doesn't need to be as, far over. So change it to whatever. So I'll just leave it as it is, and Jennifer can adjust it as she likes. So I'm going to get rid of this old prefab that we don't need anymore. Yeah, so the goal is that this grid matches the other grid so that they can be lined up in the right spot. But also now there's a little more control over each label and what's happening there. So that should be good for that. So save project, even though shouldn't have to do that. Still gonna do it. And it like decided, gets like, oh, you just renamed that meta file. Sure, that's fine, whatever. And I had a note here, which is probably gonna fit for that. All right, so that is done. So there was some more, there were a couple engine issues that I believe David fixed a couple of them. Let me go to the engine board and see. Yeah, it looks like mainly fixed that we were allowed to target the wrong ones. So let's see if that's been fixed. I did update the DLL, so... And I can just take a quick look and see if there's another new update. No, I don't think so. Okay. So yeah, the idea is that you can only target the ones on that row. Oh yeah, I guess we still have to... Oh yeah, there's the glow image. I'm like, why is it a giant box? That's the glow image for targeting the nemesis. And then there's the highlight image on those little guys too. Maybe I'll just make a note so we don't forget that one. Highlight sprites for maggot/fly, which can probably be the same image, just not with a little husk on it. So I need more maggot flies. Give a nemesis turn. And add in good old Banesire for the unleash. And see if we get enough for the second row. We did. Did we? No. We're short. Didn't this place a fly into play? Oh, this card's not implemented yet. I think Skewer unleashes, right? If not, we'll look it up. Yeah, well, unleash and suffer 3 damage. Okay, we're also not animating those yet, which I think we're going to want to. So that's something we can look at today too. So now, yeah, it's not allowing me to target. It's kind of subtle. It's like a yellow highlight on these, but it's showing me that I can target them, and then these ones are not being highlighted, which is what we want. We can only target the top ones. And it's supposed to allow you to split. You don't have to split. So that's something that we're going to talk to designers a bit, I think, because it's awkward. So we'll figure that out anyways. Cool. So that is working. Yeah, so why don't we... I think probably the most... Thinking of the different things I want to look at, so... let's not have that happening. We want to animate in the things here. We also want to have the summary panel show something. So yeah, what I'm thinking of is basically show whatever is on the top, the top row that has maggots, flies, and show how close you are to filling it up, basically. I think that makes sense. Because if you fill up... No, I guess if you fill up, you don't necessarily add more, right? If you fill up this row with maggots, then one of them turns to a fly and it stays full. So we want to basically show the top row that has any in it, or the bottom row if it's empty. I guess. And what the effect is going to be once it fills up. So let's open up that special area again. And we'll make it like Carapace Queen so you can toggle it back and forth. Yeah. So let's hide that for now. So what I'm thinking of is, like, we have a maximum of 5. So I was thinking of just sort of, I don't know, it could just be the whole row, but like a little bigger. It's certainly not enough to just show it like this with one thing and the number of them. You need to have more information than that. But it's not actually that important to see like all of the stuff higher up, which is why we can have that summary. So it's almost like you just want to see one row. It doesn't have to be shaped as a row. It could be like a little pyramid, or depending on how many there are. There's like 3 kinds, right? There's one with 5, there's one with 4, and there's one with 2. So you could have different sort of organizations if we wanted to make it fit in this space a little better. So yeah, I think we don't want right now in Carapace Queen, there's like one target you can target the husks because they're all the same, but they're not all the same in this one. So let's get rid of this. And well, it's kind of nice to see this for let's just change it because I want to see the space that I have to work with. Like, what if we make this not so much a grid, but just like a set of 5, that there's at most 5 like row maggot flies. And we don't want it to be a damage target view or a button. And we could just have like the row go across and then the thing like have the row sort of over top like that. See how much space we have. Where's the main grid? Here. Maggot fly cell. Yeah. So like we basically only need 5 of them, and we could arrange them in kind of a neat way in this little space. So if there's 2, maybe they're like next to each other like this. And if there's 4, they can be like this. And if there's 5, there's like an extra one or something like that. Or like this, maybe. I think that will probably visually look a little better. Or like that. So we kind of get this little overlap of like a beehive. I kind of like that. And then so if we're looking at a smaller row, we just don't show them. And then this is like upon filling or whatever the card says. What does it say? When a row is filled, resolve the effect. So it's like upon filling. Would say something like that. And then we would just like, we can adjust the spacing and stuff around here. So this image, this is more just for me to see what the size of things were. We can hide that. Let's see how this sort of looks in the game. Null reference. Why? Oh, because I got rid of that label. Right. We're not doing that anymore. Yeah, so, and you could click to toggle back and forth between this and the full view, which we can implement that. Carapace Queen does that already. Let's put that in. I think there's, is there a method, or is it literally just like a hide object kind of thing? Toggle track panels. Right. Right, so I think we actually just want to call toggle track panels. Yeah. Okay, so Magath. And this, the full needs to have a button on it. Is that how? I just want to make sure it's consistent with how we set up Carapace Queen. So let's have a look. This has, I guess it's a multi-image button, isn't it? But on that, and we call toggle track, and this doesn't, but the background does. Right, because we probably don't want to be clicking on other things. Okay, so the background image is what has that. Okay, it might be there already, right? Yeah. Toggle track panels. And I just want to make sure that this text box isn't blocking our clicks on anything. I think this defaults to off, yeah. Oh, and we have to assign the variable. We have our summary, track summary panel, and track full panel. Do I have separate variables that I don't need? I guess so. I don't know why they're separate. That's not even used. That's not even used. Yeah, I think we want to say this dot track full panel, track summary panel, like that. Oh, Carapace Queen has a separate thing. It's just literally used for this. I think we probably added that other property later. It's more generalized. All right, so now you can click to toggle in between them. And if there's one here, you can't click through, but that's okay because it's used for targeting or whatever. That's how we get to the full size nest mat. And then, because there's a hint that can come up here, right? So by default, we want this area to be clear for the card gain hint, but then you can always click this that goes over top. Okay, so that I think that probably works. We could play with the layout of this. I guess that's something for Jennifer if you want to see about playing with how the layout of this little area looks. But I'll make it work, and then we'll go there later on.
Sure. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool already.
Yeah. So they're not showing up here yet.
Pushed up the turn order images.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to add, where are we? Here. So this is going to be summary Maggot views. And that other label is, I think, already covered in Nemesis Special View. Let's close these things we don't need. Board text label. Yeah, is showing the swarm effect. Look at this fun case thing. I don't get to use that very much. We'll probably just do the same thing here. So basically, we're going to borrow this and change it for Magoth. Get row filled text. And I think these are all. I don't know if it's easy to access them from here. I guess they are. They're on here, but they're like in reverse. And it's kind of annoying. We'll maybe go back and change that, but they're also, those numbers aren't available here in the definition. The players lose the game, it says. And we said upon filling row, I think. That was the text we decided on. Upon filling. And put a line break. Okay, so we need to fix these numbers. I have the board in front of me. Should just look at it. So 0 through 5, and if there's 6 through 9, 10 through 14, 15 through 19, and then more than that is the last row. And we'll just, yeah, basically we're doing this as well. Yeah, I guess this can go here. And it's called the board, yeah, board text label. Get row filled text. So we want to update that. Okay, yeah, it's being updated here. Cool. And we also want to update the actual things, but we should get a text update here with that change. Just make sure I have things hooked up properly. No. Okay. We'll go with that. There. Okay, so that has the text, and we just have to update these things. So this is the main full panel and summary panel. I think actually this is going to be the exact same logic, right? Oh, not exactly the same. Because we're skipping some. Yeah, we need to know what row we're looking at, right? So that's a little tricky. I think we can probably make a helper method though. Like update maggot flies. The views and then the number that we want to skip from the targets. And then basically this. That only show the top row. And actually here we want to hide ones that, so there's a couple more differences too. We want to hide ones that aren't there, but let's do the first thing first. And so, I mean, I can do this and it's going to work, but it's not going to work on the higher number of rows. Maybe it didn't work. Why didn't it work? It should show me the 2. Is it not? Oh, I haven't assigned it. It's like there are 0. That's why. Yeah, that's empty. That would be why. Okay, so now there are 2 there. And then they sort of populate. They're going to go down here, and then there. Or actually, location doesn't matter as long as it's all about how many are in the row, right? So, yeah, so let's actually go to the case where we have more and we'll see that it's not working right. And we'll change to continue game here. All right, so you can see we actually have more than 5, but the summary only shows the first 5 right now, which is not what we want. It is showing the right label. So there's that, but we want to have it skip that first row, or skip the right number of rows, basically, right? So actually, I think we want a little method that is get summary skip amount. And kind of like this, I guess it can be a little simpler, right? If count, I guess result count is less than or equal to 5. It's kind of the same. It's the same, isn't it? It's just if else if versus a switch. And we can just do, well, let's do this. Result is 0. Result is 5. Result is 9. Skip 9. Skip 14. And if it's higher, we skip 18, right? 17? My numbers are not right. It's 17. Things don't feel like they're adding up here. Method must have a return type. Okay, how about int? Right, if there's 5 or less, then 9 or less, return 5. 14, return right, between 10 and 14, return 9. Between 15 and 19, return 13. Yeah, I mean, I should be adding 4, not 5. That's why I'm screwing up. Add 4, not 5. And then 17 is correct. Yeah, okay. That's why I'm getting mixed up. And these numbers aren't right then. This should be 13 here. Getting myself all mixed up here. Let's look at this one and then we'll make it match because I'm screwing myself up. From 0 to 5, it's on that row. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, adding 5s, I think. Then 18, 19. That's what's going on. I was adding 5s instead of 4s and getting myself mixed up. Yeah, so this. This should be that number, right? And that should be that number. Okay. Numbers. Okay. So now we go get summary skip amount targets dot count skip. All right, so now we should show the right row. Cool. Yeah, so we're showing. Oh, but we're still showing the empty one where we shouldn't be. So that's it. That's the last bit. So we need another, like, the max to show. So here it's the full amount, and for here it's going to be the number of rows. I feel like there's going to be an easier way to do this than what I'm doing here. I know in the engine is keeping track of something, right? Like if we just put, like we're not going to put 4 there. Let's go to the engine and see. Maybe we can use those values that David has set up there in a little smarter way. Magath, Nemesis controller. Maybe Nemesis card controller. This. Yeah, those are the numbers. It is private, but we're going to make it public. Static. Can static be read only? So that we can use it. Oh, and we have to fix all of these like this. But it's happy. It just doesn't like that. I think it should be a constant like this anyways, instead of an instance variable. Okay. Then I think we can do a little better. So let's go into project. So basically, yeah, we could use those variables to find out this information, right? Because we wanted to also know how many are in this row. Right, so the skip amount is basically, we go along that Magath Nemesis controller nest mat row counts. then we can subtract that from this, and if we get below 0 or whatever, then we know our number, right? I believe that's what we're looking at doing here. I got a notification. Nothing too exciting. So yeah, just to remind us, this looks like this should be dot length 5, 9, 13, 17, 19. So right, so these are total numbers, not the amount per row. So as soon as our count, so we sort of have an implicit 0 here. As soon as our count is more than this, we return that number. I think that works, right? It's kind of like total, if count greater than total. No, that works too. We have to go backward. We have to count backwards, I think, to do this then. Yeah. We have to start at the top and work down. You have to do minus minus I if you do it this way. And we have to start at -1. Can't remember how reverse loops work. And then we can just return the result. Because 0 is sort of implicit if we get there right. Brain fog's kicking in for some reason. I think for me, I would want an array that's the number in each row as opposed to the number that's the total. I think that's what's getting me a little bit. Then I could just like subtract as we go along. We might have some border problems with this logic. So we still got the right answer. Which is good. If we don't continue the game, do we see the right thing happen? We have to start first 2, then we have a new 1. Then 2 more. Yeah, unleash for 2 more. Okay. Looks like my logic works. I don't know if it works at the top, but we'll test that at some point. And we could do something like that with this too and get the text, because we can get like Nemesis view, Nemesis controller, track. I don't know what those properties are. Nemesis specific board body is an array. It's a list of things. So we could figure out the one that we need as well. So I guess here we want kind of the same thing, but it's the amount. Row size. And really want these to just be return me that number. Instead, we have to return we have to do other convoluted things. Because like for the first row, 5 is right, but then the next one is that minus the first one is the number I want. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Here, we found the right spot, right? And then the result is going to be total minus. Well, no, basically this. Assuming we're not at the end, because then we get out of bounds. Oh, and this can break. Yeah, we just have to check to see if I is greater than 0. Do that. Otherwise, don't minus it. Because then it'll be 19 minus 17, or 17 minus 13, or 13 minus 9, or 9 minus 5, or 5. Okay, so show only, maybe. And maybe we make that nullable. And we only want to show that many. And so I guess we want to if show only has value, and I guess really we can just say if show only is less than or equal to I minus 1. So if show only was 1, we would see the 1. If show only is 2, it's yeah, actually we want this to be greater than I minus 1. And if it's null, this will just be false. I think that is going to do what we want. Might be off by 1. Maybe show 4, but we're hiding the wrong one. We want to hide them from the end. Right. I think we're doing the right thing anyways. Let's just make sure. Just filter our log here. Show only 0. Well, that's not a number we want to be coming through. That doesn't make... How could that ever come back? Oh, because... Right. I mean, null is fine for the first at the start, right? Because there's 5 at the start. And then we want show only to be 4. Oh, and now it says 5, and then it hides them all. Okay. Something's not quite right. All right, let's continue, so at least at this spot. It didn't work the first time, that time. All right. So we're getting the wrong number for show only. Is the first problem. So we're starting at the top and we have 7, right? Let's just add a quick little login here. Should be 7. That's what I'm expecting here. Yeah. So we come in with 7. 7 is not bigger than 19. Blah, blah, blah. 7 is bigger than 5. Oh, I see. We kind of need to do the other way. I plus 1 minus total. And it's, yeah, of course, this. And then we have to check to see if we're, yeah. So basically, we need to do if we're at the very top row, we can't actually get there, right? We can't have more than 19. I think we always are within this. Because we can't have more than 19. We would be, that's the end of the game, right? So we have to be here, and then here, and then here. So I think we're okay with that, actually. And let's just see what we're passing to this. We're passing 4. Amazing. Okay. So basically, if I plus 1 gets past 4, we don't want to show the thing, right? If I plus 1 greater than show only, turn it off. Sometimes it helps to just talk it out. We see 4. All right, so let's go back and not continue the game, and we should see it change properly. All right, we start with the 5. We unleash. We fill up the 5. We unleash again. It switches to 4. The label changes. That's looking pretty good. Let's get more unleashing and see that it works all the way up. Nemesis card list. Give me more unleashing. Unleash twice. Decimate. Let's do more things that unleash versus things that deal damage. I have nothing. And awaken on the next turn. Let's see more flies. Right, we're now up to here. Oh, we're 1 away from losing the game. Actually, interesting. I guess there should never be a maggot here, right? How is there a maggot there? Unless when you unleash, you add a fly, don't you? No, you just put 2 maggots. Unless we're on increased difficulty. Oh, we are on increased difficulty. That's why. 1 fly and 1 maggot. Okay, that's why. So yeah. We almost lost. 1 more Nemesis turn and we lose, right? So let's just get there. Let's just cast this and get it out of the way. Make sure we don't get an exception at the end of the game or something. We do have some errors. Okay, some animation issue. Oh, this has to do with this has to do with turning maggots into flies, I believe. So we can, I think we need to deal with that. They're special. Yeah. And turn. Let's get to a Nemesis turn. Come on. Give me a Nemesis turn. We want to lose. And what's happening? Game over, will perform action. Oh, is unhandled game over situation, right? That's something we have to fill in. Unique Nemesis situation. All right, why don't we actually fill that in? Magoth. And basically it's the players lose the game because it says that. The top row of the nest mat is full, right? Resolve the effect. This is more of a mechanical reason. And then there's the end game. In the end game, we actually have a more thematic thing. So let's see that this part works. Like that. And so let's do the end game part now so that we can actually see it when we get in there. Carapace. So we can do some creative writing here. I don't know. FPO. So many flies. It's gross. At least we'll see that show up on the screen. And then we'll think about what we want to write there. Another time, probably. So many flies, it's gross. All right, we lost. So all that logic actually worked great. Good job. Good job, me. Somehow doing math. We could change this one to use that stuff too. If we wanted to, but I think I'm okay with that as it is. So yeah, so let's take a look and make sure everything is working. So we can actually target those. And is it even if we flip it over, we can still target them? That's important. Yep. Even if I finish casting and go to click on one, I can't actually click on one, can I? That button takes over. That's a thing. That's a thing. Because most of the time you're going to be in this view, right? So we want that to obviously work. Carapace Queen had a thing for that, but I think we'll commit what we've got here. Well, first I think we need to commit our little engine change. Oh, right, there's a typo fix there too. Hatch 1 flies. We're going to update DLL. And yeah, I guess we did a couple different things. So I'm going to commit these things and say, all right, yeah, Jennifer added some more art images. Cool. We set up Magoth summary view, improve full view text handling, and add some end game strings for Magoth. We'll pull in those art changes. So yeah, I think last thing, let's see if we can make that targeting work with, it works with drag and drop, but it isn't working with the click to target like with this spell that I happen to have up, Lavitendril. We'll take a quick look and see if we can make that work. I think it shouldn't be too bad, and go from there. That'll probably wrap it up for today. Sprite atlases. So Carapace Queen has a special damage target that is... Oh, right. Actually, yeah, we just have to add them to our target view list that is on the Nemesis special view. So it just keeps track of them all the time. So I think we just have to include those. That's all. Yeah. It's basically concat. I mean, it actually concat to begin with. Like that. Carver's Queen a little different because there's this one damage target view and only one. And yeah, that should probably do it. Let's get that script change and test that. So I can drag and drop like that. Or I can finish, and it does highlight the whole thing, which I don't love. But I can click, and it did kill one. And we had a animation issue there because the thing disappeared, I think. So yeah, there's still some issues there potentially, but it did work. So there's some highlighting issues and stuff, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I think we'll sort out exactly how that works. And there's some, that probably has a different color and some different text and styling and stuff like that. But that looks all pretty functional to me. So good old save project. Yeah, nothing but debug settings really. So this is basically include summary target views in target view list. Cool. So that is that. Summary display. Hey, look, it was like top row display. And basically visual polish for summary panel. That was fixed. Still issues about targeting and stuff. So that's something to look at. But yeah, I think that is looking pretty good, pretty functional Nemesis special view there. So we'll continue rolling on that. So I think that's going to be it for the dev stream today. We're going to be back next week with Jean-Marc doing music for Maggoth. So expect creepy bug sounds to be coming into your ear holes next Friday. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Frenzy and Seamus and others. Always fun to have a little dev stream showing off more of what we do. Make sure to visit the New Age Kickstarter. I'll throw a link into the chat. And tell your friends. If you know anyone who plays Aeon's End or who would be interested in playing it on Steam, send them over to the Kickstarter. We'd really love to make this happen. So thanks, Jennifer, for joining and showing off the graphics. And I don't know if you're still on the call. You can say bye if you want.
Yep, I'm still here. I just been muted. And thanks for joining us, everybody. And I had fun.
Yeah. Awesome. So have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you next time.